Hello, investors, and welcome back. Proterra community, the most fantastic community in all of YouTube. This is the only channel that covers Proterra, and I think we do it fair. Let's do it again. We just had the Q4 earnings come out. I want to give you my thoughts. First off, let's talk about why anybody would hold this play with as much volatility as it's had. It's because you're a true investor and you see long-term potential in this play. Given every supply chain disruption, every complicated thing that's going to happen out there in the market, this one you believed would give you back your money, give you the growth that you would expect if you didn't need your money until like 2025. I've continuously said 2023, but it's really important. But I will say, I don't want you to become absolutely married to any stock. It's very important during these quarterly updates to recheck the thesis, and we're going to do that. But first off, let's say some good things about Proterra, because we have a new leadership team that just did a fantastic call, in my opinion. I believe Gareth and the new CFO seems really strong. Caution, I will tell you, and we're going to talk about it during this video, they have not released all of their filings yet, and they're requesting more time. The new CFO said that there isn't anything to worry about, but I'm smelling something that maybe there's a little house cleaning going up on in the numbers. So I just want you to be aware of that. If you didn't get this at 675 and you were looking for that opportunity, you knew this was an opportunity to cost average down, take up a position. If this is a play you believe in, it's your money. You do with what you will with it. I also want you to think about, is this the play that's going to give you the best long-term growth? Do not become married to any stock. Institutional ownership, next generation of battery coming out. What are some of the other positives? Why are you believing in this play? The backlog. The President of the United States talked about it with the leadership team previously. All right, so let's go through the price action real quick. Right now we're sitting at $7.17, but this went as low as $6.75. I think it went a little lower than that. This could have been an opportunity to cost average down or start a position if you've been holding and you've been wanting to get in on this play. But before you do that, I would just say hear everything through this video first before you do that, because it's really about who's going to give you the best return on your money. Now, if you haven't went in and looked at the past presentations, the Analyst Day and the ArcLight or ACTC merger presentation, that's what I always reference when I'm looking at the numbers. When you're taking somebody on a date and you're getting to know them, and this is what you tell me, right? You tell me that you're going to hit 246, or you're going to tell me that you're going to hit 439. Those are pretty much the projections that are going to get me excited, right? Now, of course, when they did this, when they put this together, they weren't assuming that they were going to have the type of supply chain constraints, which with inflation reaching record levels, not going anywhere, everything happening in Russia right now is only going to further complicate supply chain issues. I think it was smart of the company to pull back on guidance, and that's what happened during this call. They pulled back on guidance, and I think they said 300 to 325 million, so they pretty much cut this down by 100 million. And you can see that they just barely missed their expectation for this year. And they had negative gross margins. Gross margins are supposed to improve. So if you take a look at what analysts predict on Yahoo Finance right here, we've got the revenue estimates for the end of this year. You can see on the high side, they had 425. So if you go back to the ACTC slide, it was 439. Now they're going to have to adjust this because this is not going to be what they plan on hitting. They might hit the low estimate, and right now they're guiding to something much lower. Reason being, they don't plan on starting that second bus shift, that build shift to make the buses anytime this year. I was thinking that we were going to see it in the second half of the year, and I was hoping to hear this new battery manufacturing plant that they just procured was going to be stood up a little bit sooner than the end of this year. So that revenue, you're not going to see that till 2023. So those were some of the things that came out of the call. And like I was saying previously at the very beginning, the financial summary tab, if you'll notice, you can't click on the financial statements or the annual report is not available. So it looks like they still need time to get their financial statements out, and they were going to be requesting additional time for that. I don't know how the market's going to respond when they request additional time to put their financial statements together. So I just wanted to say, if you didn't get this at 675, sit back, be patient. You know, in this channel, I've always tried to help you get in as low as possible. We don't chase this in the $8 range. We don't buy this at 9. We wait till it gets to those key levels. Remember, told you previously, 8 is the new 6, or whatever I said previously. So you want to take advantage of this. If you're going to continue to just put your blinders on, believe in the company no matter what, I mean, that's fine. I believe you have to use each one of these, checkups to say, is the company on track with what they originally told me they were going to do? Now, the demand's there. If you go back to the quarterly numbers, or the quarterly letter that came out, 243 million. They only missed it by 3 million. Not bad. I don't think they really got punished there. This was all about guidance. They've got a backlog that's growing, 1.3 billion in contracted orders. So these companies are able to put in their orders over a long period of time. They know that they're going to want to procure buses for the next 5 years. Like California, for example, just put together a large plan. So Texas and Florida is the biggest contracts for Proterra. But I mean, remember, the company is not your friend. I know that we like a lot of the leadership in Proterra, but they are a business and they will hire and fire just like that. People will leave, and there's incentives, right? You should be incentivized to find the best growth prospect for your money. If you believe it's here, then keep it here. And I want to make sure that I keep you at the lowest price possible so you can see those growth, that growth. So 208, remember, here in the front, their job is to present their best foot forward up at the front. Every company does this. Gross margins, I believe, were negative on this one. But if you scroll through here and we look at, I do like this page. It really gives you a good overview of what's happening with the class of the vehicles on the highway, off the highway, and that are in the powered vehicle program, because keeping up with this was kind of challenging in the past for me. You have to keep up with a lot of notes and just re-listen to a lot of calls. The other thing that I wanted to look at here was this operating metrics. I really appreciate that they have this in here. You can see that for the rest of this year, that we are really relying on, let's go back to this light blue space for powered and energy to grow. Now look at the size of this right here, right? And this bus shift, it's not going to increase. So with their model, when they go to put inputs into their model to decide how many buses they can produce, manpower is not part of that model. And they're not building infrastructure. I thought that they were going to be 5Xing this business when I initially started covering this, and it looks like it's much slower than that. But I thought the energy independence aspect of what's happening with the conflict with Russia and Ukraine was going to help expedite plays like this. And I still believe that Proterra has strong potential if they invest in supply, if they invest in the areas that they need to, correct. There's bottlenecks in their supply chain, and it doesn't sound like they've got them all figured out yet. They're still struggling with the wiring harness issue and other critical supplies. Now, check this out. Gareth was the president of Powered, right? He's got Powered. Powered's going to be strong. We lost the president of the bus sector, and I'm not sure that there's a replacement yet. He probably went on to do something easier. Buses are complicated. 2,500 different configurations. When you're going to make a Honda Civic or, a Tesla, a Plaid, or whatever, there's not 2,500 different combinations to build. I mean, the buses are complicated. So we've overcomplicated our builds, and then the next generation of bus builds, I would like to hear something from Proterra on streamlining that build and making it less complicated. I don't understand why we're giving the customer so many different configurations, because it just complicates the supply chain. So you can see here, 54, you can expect no more than 60 buses every quarter for the rest of this year. That's going to be their output. They're not going to try and do less than 50, but it doesn't look like they're going to make it over 60 buses. And, you know, each quarter is going to be different just profit-wise because of the mix, the type of buses that they actually produce. So it looks like, I mean, look at the big jump with Proterra powered. We expected that. All of these are not really surprising except for the part shortages that they're having with their charging infrastructure. So not only are they having part shortages with buses, they're having part shortages with their battery systems and with their charging infrastructure. So part shortages are really plaguing the company right now. And when they'll be alleviated, definitely not while you have European global crisis that are further complicating supply chain issues. Now, this company is supposed to be known for bringing everything domestically, right? Well, that's not happened yet, right? They do have battery supply, and it's increased their inventory numbers. If you go through here and look at their inventory, I think it's around 114 million, so that ticked up also. It's not good that they're carrying this additional inventory. They can't relieve their inventory because they have completely built buses that are just waiting on parts, sitting in their shop. There's probably 7 of them just sitting there waiting for final assembly. They can't relieve that inventory and get new inventory back in, further complicating things. This is a complicated play. Let's see. What other notes do I have here that I put in the Discord? I just want to see. I want to make sure that I don't miss anything. But that pretty much sums it up. Go back and recheck your thesis. Make sure you understand why you're holding this play. They changed their guidance. They are only going to have one shift to build buses this year. They aren't going to be standing up that new facility till the end of this year. There's going to be plenty of opportunities to buy this low. I believe that this kind of set things back for me. You can be bullish. If you don't need your money till 2025, I think you're fine. Take little bites of this. Keep it aside. If you are looking for accelerated growth in your portfolio this year, this is not the play for you. It just absolutely isn't. And you guys know, gals and guys, you know that I've been honest with you about this play. There's nothing that's going to come that's going to dramatically change this unless Tesla buys it. Those are pretty much my thoughts. I could go through here and probably read some of the comments, but that I put into the Discord. Be sure to check out the Discord. I appreciate everyone who has supported me and the channel for the Patreon. And also, if you'd like to get 5 free stocks, you could start a MooMoo account for only $1. Thank you so much for watching. I'm going to go ahead and get this one out. See you in the next video.